Hey, what's up everyone? Today I want to talk to you about learning and what's going to take for you to learn something new. I believe there's this misconception in the world where as we grow older, we learn a lot slower, and I don't think that is true, and I want to debunk and unpack that a little bit with you. I don't think we learn slower as we go older. I think we got a lot more distractions. We got a lot more worries. Our life is so much fuller than when we were younger that all of that is actually getting in the way of you being able to learn. Now, I'm no scientist. I know nothing about the brain really, and I'm no psychologist, but I am an expert in my life and the way that I learn. And I want to share that with you because maybe that's going to give you something, maybe an edge for you to find yourself back into that rhythm of learning and maybe inspire you a little bit more into stepping outside of your comfort zone with the knowledge that you currently have. Okay, so we're gonna unpack that a little bit. I give you a few stories, and you tell me at the end of the video whether or not you got something from it and what you got from it. Does that sound good for you? All right, so let's go then. When I reflect on how I learn things, there's two main contexts that I seem to learn from. One which is that I already have some knowledge and I'm learning a little bit more on that. For example, I got some skills and I add more skills on top of those skills. Or I learn from a completely new area of knowledge that I'm not really familiar with. Okay, so let's draw a picture to look at what I'm talking about here. Throughout my life, I've learned a lot of things, and I'm gonna represent that by drawing a bubble. Now, inside of this bubble are all the things that I've learned. For example, at home, I've learned about woodworking. At work, I've learned about coding, etc., etc. Now, outside of me knowing wood, I can learn more things. I know how to put two woods together. Now I know how to build a box. I can build a garden bed. Now that I learned how to build a garden bed, I want the next project, I want the next challenge, so I'm gonna learn how to build a cubby house. I've learned to build a cubby house, and then I've built my daughter an amazing bed. By the way, the bed is so amazing, she loves it. It makes me a really proud dad. But if you see what I'm doing here, all I'm doing is adding knowledge on top of what I already know. And what's happening to my bubble, that bubble is growing and growing and growing. If you think that each point that makes this bubble being a pixel, each of the pixel here has the ability to attract more knowledge. So that I can grow more knowledge here, I can grow more knowledge here, and I can grow more knowledge here. And as you grow more knowledge, what happens is that your bubble has a lot more surfaces to be able to attract more knowledge. Okay, now this is really great, but all I'm doing here is adding more knowledge, more skills on things that I already know. So there's no groundbreaking kind of moment here, right? Let's say tomorrow your manager comes to you and says, you know what, you're great at engineering. Right now, what the company really needs is for you to learn finance. And you have a bit of a freak out moment. Oh my gosh, I know nothing about finance. Yes, I know how to do my taxes. I know how to buy stuff at the shop. I know 2 minus 2 equals 0. And when we got 0, we got no money to be able to run the company anymore. But really looking after the finances for the company, this is kind of like a new world that I'm going to have to learn. So if you look at here, if I draw it, let's say this is the whole new world that I'm gonna have to learn, and all I know about it is this little bubble here. Now, this can be very exciting for you. This is something you may want to learn. As you spend time in here, you can start to expand a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit, and a little bit. But what happens here is you are standing right between that mass of knowledge that you got here and that little bit of knowledge that you got here. So guess what's gonna happen? If you understand gravity, you understand the principle that the more mass an object has, the more attractive this object is. So what happens for me often is when I'm in this situation where I'm trying to learn something new, I'm automatically pulled back into what I already know. Why? Because it's comfortable. It's where I can really excel for myself. That's where I feel really like I'm worth something. Okay, but the biggest breakthroughs that I had in knowledge for myself, in learning, didn't happen within this bubble here. Where it happened is where it's uncomfortable, where it's a bit of a stretch, whatever you want to call that. This is where the breakthrough in learning is going to happen. When you look at kids, that's exactly what happens for them. They have breakthroughs, whatever you want to call it, in so many different areas. And when those breakthroughs get closer and grow, suddenly they become a big bubble together. And that's how do you think that you learn a lot slower, is because we don't put ourselves in situation where we're going to have those learning breakthroughs anymore. But you can still put yourself in the situation, and I'm going to give you 3 stories where I had to put myself through it and what actually got me through, okay? So that you can look into your life on where you can start to take that on for yourself and look at growing your knowledge the same way that you were growing it when you were a kid. Story number 1, how I became an IT professional. Now, in year 12, I didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't know which studies to choose. I knew I was good at mathematics, but I didn't know what to do. And so our school, what was great about it is that they organized people coming from different industries and careers coming to talk to us about what they did as a job in an attempt to inspire us or to pique our interest to be able to choose our future. Now, there were so many people coming through. We had military coming through, researchers, doctors, professors, all coming through. None of it really interested me. Until this guy, he walks in, he has some jeans on, he had his, t-shirt on, and he got glasses on, and a big smile on his face. And I felt like, this guy is like us. He belongs with us, right? And so he said that I'm an IT engineer. And he said, if you don't know what to do, if you're good at mathematics, you should go into IT. I was like, this is me. He's talking to me right now. I'm great at mathematics, so I'm going to go and do IT. And so 6 months later, I'm in my IT school and I'm learning IT. And one Saturday I come home and I go to my mom and I say, Mom, I don't think this is for me. This is way too hard. And I went to have a nap. Every single Saturday, I would have a nap because that's so much learning was happening during that time that my brain was completely fried, right? Now, this is what we're talking about, right? This is an area that I knew nothing about or not a lot about that I needed to really break through. Now, everybody in my class know that, right? They knew about how to build a computer. They know what memory was. They know what the CPU was. They know what Linux was. I knew nothing of that. I actually never owned a computer for myself before I actually started that school. Okay? So I didn't stop there. I didn't give up. And I didn't give up because I didn't like the alternative. The alternative was being a dropout and not knowing what to do with my life anymore. So I kept going. Now, it took a while, but after a few months, I finally had a breakthrough. And now you see, when you have a breakthrough in a new knowledge of area, suddenly it's like there's a new world opening for yourself, and there's so much knowledge that you now can grab. It's like that bubble that I was talking about, right? You have a little bubble, there's a little bit of knowledge that can come through the pixels, and then you grow that bubble a bit more, there's more knowledge that can come, and then suddenly you got enough surface that a lot more knowledge can come through. So I actually obtained that certain point in my career that now I became really good. And when things started to click, oh my God, I started to learn right, left, center so quickly, anything that I needed to learn in IT. Okay, so that's my number 1 story. Story number 2, how I've learned Chinese Mandarin. So I used to be a teacher in my 20s, teacher in IT. See how that little breakthrough that we talked about allowed me to now become a teacher in IT? So those are the kind of things that can happen out of you breaking through, really going for learning something from an area that you know nothing about, okay? So I'm a teacher and the university was looking for teachers in China. And so I put my hand up and they flew us over to China. First 2 weeks we were in Beijing with a lot of translators, and if you've ever been in China, in Beijing before, there's pictures in every restaurant so that you can easily point to what you want to order. Now, after 2 weeks, they shipped us in a small town, and there were maybe maximum 10 people who could speak English in the whole town, right? At the time. Mind you, that's 20 years ago. I don't know what it's like today. The town was called Huangdao, which is a little city next to Qingdao, right? The beer Qingdao, if you know. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I'm over there with my friends, and that night we go to a restaurant and there's no pictures. There's no pictures, And this woman comes over to us, the waitress. She comes over with a piece of paper, and we're supposed to note down what we want for dinner. And so we could not read any of it. None of us spoke any Chinese. I didn't even know one word in Chinese. Maybe I knew how to say hello by that time, right? After 2 weeks, I've learned one word. And so we took a pen, we laid it all on that piece of paper, and we said, whatever it falls on, that's what we're going to have for dinner. The waitress looked at us like, are you guys sure? That's what we thought that she said. And then she walks at the back, have a bit of a laugh with her friends, and she comes back with a bowl of peanuts. That's what we had for dinner. So in that moment, I realized, I'm like, we got two ways to go here. It's either we learn the language and so that we can order food that we actually want to eat, or we don't, and we're screwed. And so I decided I'm going to learn the language and I'm going to go full into it. So I spent 3 to 5 hours every single day learning Chinese Mandarin by watching TV without understanding it, but with the Chinese subtitles as well. We had a CD that, at the time on the internet, there was no such thing as learning a language on the internet at the time. The way we learned it, there was CDs, right, that we were given by the university so that we can actually learn Chinese. And there was also a teacher as well that we had. But the thing that made the biggest difference is that there was this taxi driver. For some reason, she was so excited about trying to help me learning the language that she would often during the day send me a message. She'd say, come down, sit next to me, and we'll speak Chinese. Like, she doesn't speak any English at all, by the way. That was all in Chinese that she wrote me. And I had a friend who translated those messages to me until I could read it myself. And so I would spend hours with her listening the language. So I was really submerged inside that culture and inside the language itself to be able to learn it very, very, very quickly. Now that's story number 2. And story number 3 is about me learning about all the generative AI. Now you see, when 2 years ago it started to become a big thing in the world, I thought I really need to learn this skill. Now I tried to learn it and I could not. Now I know what you're thinking. Well, isn't that still in the realm of IT? Yeah, it is, but the concept for me were very, very different. Now you see, when it comes to learning and you being able to learn very fast, what's actually slowing you down and what's breaking you is the perception that you have about the knowledge that you have and whether the knowledge you have is going to help you actually learn that other thing. Okay. So for me, my perception was AI was a complete different field and it was really hard for me to attain. And so I would spend months on the internet trying to learn it, and I could not learn it for the life of me. And I would give up, come back, give up, come back, give up all the time, until suddenly it clicked in my head. Now I understand. And so once you have that click, suddenly each concept starts to make a lot of sense. And what really was at stake for me there is that if I didn't learn AI, I would be irrelevant. And so I really, really wanted to learn that technology, and I could see how it could accelerate me building the businesses that I wanted to build too. And so I went full into it, and now I know a lot about it. Now, why am I sharing about those stories? It's because there is something in common out of those stories that I want you to get. First thing for you to get is that you are going to suck when you start. Anything that you're learning from scratch, you're going to suck at it. Just like if you've ever been to a gym, the first time at the gym, you're trying to push 2 kilos and it's really hard to do. And then 4 weeks later, you can push 20 kilos. So it's the same in learning. You're not going to be good the first time you start, okay? And you got to be okay with that, right? You got to give yourself a little bit of space for you to start learning it. Second thing is find yourself a tribe. It could be your friends, could be some mentors, maybe it could be some people that you listen to on YouTube, on your podcast or whatever. The people you really want to gravitate to, the people who are going to pull you forward into that area of learning that you really want to have for yourself. And the third thing for me is the most important thing is you got to create a future for yourself that you really want. Or maybe a future that you really, really don't want, so that it really inspires you to step into that realm, that new realm of knowledge, and keep going. Okay. Now, those 3 ingredients worked for me, so it may very well work for you as well. So if you're a solo founder, a solo dev, or anyone really. It's your experience or skills that's going to get you where you really want to be in your life. And the best way for you to know how you learn is by learning. Okay, so find a topic that you've been putting off for the last few months, few years, whatever that is, and really dive into it. Doesn't matter what it is, go and discover what it's like to learn again. And I promise you, the other side of it is pure satisfaction. And this is Coral, and I hope that you got something for yourself out of this video.